We're about to begin the second drafting phase here in the wildcards. Nightmare going up against Dfyg. Where so far, folks, if you guys...
Same time, you provide a lot more control in these team fights. The bans actually are not different at all, except for the Eve ban. Yeah. So they traded the Loi for the Eve.
Yeah, I kind of feel like here the Khalid actually was still okay. Let's see here. Something that they can consider is that maybe don't pick up the Alpha because there's a chance that no one can pick up. Not saying that the Alpha is a bad pick, but perhaps too easy for Lexi is more of an assassin guy rather than a fighter guy.
Yeah, I think if you want to play faster, you have to start looking at Nolan, you have to start looking at Suyo in this case. They do take the Khalid first, I can get by with that, so I'm expecting a Phobius pick once more for Dfyg. He has done wonders in game 1. In a way, I think Khalid, because you have the advantage to move early, it has to be a lot more prevalent for Oppa in that first few minutes, which was not present in game 1. But if you adjust that, I think it would be more manageable up against Phobius if it gets picked.
Yeah, honestly, like you pick up a very good point. The fact that we don't see the Khalid a lot does show that Dfyg not just win his lane, but he won it so hard that the Khalid can't roam. So actually, you brought up a very good point in the previous conversation where Dfyg, we don't see him a lot on camera as well, but it looks like he really controlled the uppers to the point where Dfyg has 2 heroes that makes it a 4v5 or 3v5.
Yeah, Phobius comes back, Vexana gets picked up as well. I do like this change. Now that the Eve is gone, you still have Vexana, which is sort of a control mage in her own way. That hero was banned out in game number 1 by Dfyg themselves. So I do like this, right? Great early in the mid-game objective contest would be such a nightmare. Imagine playing 4v5, but what if it's a 6v5 right now because of that Eternal Guard?
I would say pick up the Nolan here if 2AC for Lexi is comfortable using it going up against Dfyg because Seth has shown that he is incredible on that Nolan. And if not, maybe pick up the Suyo. Show us what you got.
I think the only caveat with the Nolan is that you're playing into Vexana and Phobius, right? You have to be pixel perfect with your movements. You gotta be able to track all these abilities. You get caught by the Dark Wave, you get caught by just even the Phobius passive. It's lights out. So they go for the safer pick. We talk about the Cho coming for Jasmine. I do like this pick a lot more compared to Matilda.
Yeah, and later on, Dfyg, after showing more of the draft, maybe pick up something with a little bit more range for the mid lane. Because as strong as Valentina is picking up that Eternal Guard, maybe something that can able to deal with Luong might be much better. Now Suyo is getting picked up, so they're looking at this Cho and they're looking at this Alpha. It's like, no, it's not bad.
Yeah,
but Suyo is probably better.
Iframes, right? Iframes make all the difference, and technically you are slightly more beefy in the Immortal form. You've got crowd control immunity with your Blade Surge and your Quell the Evil in the Immortal form, of course. So I like the change from Dfyg. They definitely put a lot of thought into how to deal with that Cho.
Interesting to see Dfyg has picked up all the heroes that has been mentioned. But they're strong, they're strong.
Hey, I mean, if I win with these heroes, right, what else is stopping me?
If they win with these heroes, then Mutana's like, okay, I guess it wasn't enough.
I mean, they did come up with a patch based off of like our public games, right? So I think, you know, that's the difference, right? You buff Fanny because she doesn't have a high enough win rate in pub games. You look at pro games, my goodness, Fanny is perma-ban even when she's nerfed. So it really shows the big difference, the big contrast. I mean, the pro environment, we got the...
Yeah, let me just say, when I saw the Fanny got buffed, I laughed so hard that my neighbor complained. And then when I told my neighbor what happened, and then my neighbor laughed too.
Yeah, I saw the Fanny buff, and I asked my family, like, what do you think of this? My family was like, doesn't look good, and I'm like, you're correct.
Yeah.
Doesn't look good at all.
I asked my mom, and she's like, no.
It's a bad, well, it's not a bad choice, but it's interesting. Well, at least we won't be able to see her often anyway, so I mean, in pro games it doesn't really matter, but in pubs, yeah, now that's the premier ban hero. I feel like this Paramis ban though, it's very different from what, you know, Dfyg have considered, even ban Valentina.
Okay, so both these mages are mid-range heroes, which is very interesting. So, I wonder if Long still wants the Bruno here, which according to data, it really should be.
Yeah.
So does Nightmare actually respects that and then ban out the Bruno?
I feel like you can consider, but it doesn't feel good enough.
Yeah.
Right? The Bruno can still take Purify, right? There's a show, sure, I can just take Purify and I can negate the...
It doesn't feel good, but yeah,
it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel as good now that there's still like dive potential, but it is a possibility. So they banned the Tigro, which is a problem when you're running a show. You don't want to get sucked in by Implosion. Bruno, I feel like they can even leave Bruno for last. Oh, well, at least the marksman for last, because you're on red side.
For sure. But an argument can be made, you want to see the entire draft before choosing your roamer.
Kaja still doesn't feel that bad, right? If there's a show, sure, I can just pull you. Then Bruno comes back up, no surprise. So that's 4 nerf heroes. Was Bruno nerfed?
No,
Bruno is not nerfed, but 3 out of 4 of them has been nerfed.
The Matrix, I feel like, was fine, but I just don't know if it's Cammy's type of hero, because Cammy so far uses a lot of magic-based heroes. Has been using the Natan a lot, has been using the Hiram and such. So his Matrix is okay, but maybe if you still want that late game, maybe consider the Natan, something that you're a little bit more comfortable with.
It's a topic that we kind of brought up, we touched on just a bit in the pre-game, right? Like, does late game hero feel as good now that games end average faster? I know his preference is more towards mage and late game scaling heroes. Beatrix feels like a good balance in between. Right? Early to mid doesn't feel bad, late game, absolute monster. It should be an Aurora pick for Nightmare, there's not really much choice left. Kaja doesn't look too bad, honestly, even though there are Aurora and Cho.
I mean, here's the thing. The rules of using a cash composition is who gets there first. If the choke kicks me, good game, I lose. If I catch choke first, good game, I win. If they want to play that game, if they don't want to play that game, they can go for something simple like a high loss. I was talking about the Edith. The Edith still works fine here. And there's a lot of options for sure.
Actually, I'm doing the high loss, right? You have a guaranteed stun with the Law and Order. It's great against the 3 front lines of Nightmare Esports. It enables the focus so much more as well. They want to play an ego game. Let's see for PCU. Yep. Wow, good call.
Yeah. High loss been picked up here so far for both teams. Very solid composition here. Not seeing a lot of mistakes. It really is just about the execution. Where Nightmare, this time with the choke, the weaker you make my hero, the stronger I become. And now, speaking of becoming stronger, game number 2 between Nightmare against Dfyg right now. Match point for Dfyg. Can Nightmare equalize? Can they win this one? And then push us to game number 3. Welcome to the Land of Dawn.
I feel like we are already at the cusp of a fraction of history being made for the Chinese region just because Dfyg might just get the first series win for the region overall on the international stage. We've seen game wins from KBG, but never a series in a 2-0 fashion against a team like Nightmare that's so decorated. That already feels like a big improvement from last time.
Yeah, now we can see KLVJ. This time we're actually looking at the laning phase, and he definitely has a better trade going up against the Khalid. The only thing is that the Khalid can heal up, so it's not that punishing.
Also looking at how much impact Jasmine has, right? Like, you're getting control so much, and it's so hard to walk up. If PCU had that Law and Order at level 2, that would potentially be a dead show. Forced to recall this early doesn't feel good at all.
Something to look at, actually. Nightmare Esports, 4 out of 5 members actually have Thrill in their emblem setup. So it does look like they want to be more aggressive in the early game. They want to make sure that they have a lot of base damage.
They know what to say. Damage is king, right? That extra 18 adaptive damage at level 1. Oh, sweet, sweet numbers.
Yeah, and again, KLVJ, look at how he's moving around Opera. He's cutting the path. He knows where Opera is going to move, and he's like, I'm going to make sure I'm here first. You can't move forward. KLVJ is doing an amazing job as an EXP laner to make sure that one of the benefits of a Khalid is not being used.
When you go up against the Kings, you best not miss KLVJ. Like you said, literally a brick wall. Like, it's very rare that you see Khalid getting kind of stumped in this position. The Phobius gets to move first. That does not feel good.
Oh, yeah. Different rotation here. Looks like the roamer as well as the EXP actually absorbs the mid lane. So does this mean that Yuan wants that EXP?
KLVJ is going to be 4. Retreat 5 goes too easy for Lexi. Will find the turtle. Avengers will not help KLVJ. First blood for Nightmare.
I don't know whether it was intended or not, but Yuan wasn't level 4, which I feel like the EXP lane was open for him to absorb that minion wave. And again, I don't know if that's part of the plan, but I would imagine that they wanted Yuan to get that level 4 first in the EXP and then join the fight around Turtle.
I agree. I think having the Eternal Guard is so much more valuable than maybe PCU getting that level 4 with the Glorious Pathway. It doesn't change much. It doesn't help when Jasmine basically zoned out the Vexana from the fight. So now they get to kind of put that pressure on the top side and to freeze the turret a little bit. Long still taking that fight. Jasmine spotted out by PCU. Mid side, Yi1 getting gone on Eternal Guard drop. Jasmine even flickers but couldn't find the kick as Yi1 traced his.
Definitely a big change here where Nightmare Esports has more control around the map. They have more tempo, and the change of having this Cho really makes it very, very impressive. And again, something that we might be able to study after this is the emblem setup. Everyone, I believe except Soso, has that thrill. So Cammy has early damage, Jasmine has early damage, Too Easy for Lexi has early damage, Opper as well has early damage, even though he's not able to utilize it going up against KLVJ. But so far, the strat looks good.
Yeah. And thankfully with Jasmine and Soso, they get to kind of negate the disadvantage that that Oppa has to kind of suffer in that early game, right? They're continuing to put pressure onto Long. It's not like PCU is on a Kaja, right? So now diving feels a bit better. And here comes 4-man die, raiding Sandstorm Flicker into a kick. Purify gets used by Long, but the damage is just too much. Jasmine finds the takedown.
Yeah, not much that PCU can really do. Nightmare already starting off very, very good. The fact that Cammy is able to clear the wave that fast, now Cammy can join the turtle fight. So Dfyg, no matter what, is going to be a 5-man fight from Nightmare. Nightmare should be the ones to really control this neutral objective. And now even too easy for Lexi has the War Axe.
You see the difference between the Suyo and the Nolan, right? The burst from Suyo just not as much early on. They find the Terrify, KelVJ to the back, Retribution War. Again, not even close. Too easy for Lexi, finds the objective. Zed gets out, but Selkid goes down again.
Good idea coming in from KelVJ, but Jasmine, he went to the back line, making sure that no follow-up is going to be there.
Yeah.
We see the idea here from KelVJ is like, okay, we might not be able to get this turtle, but maybe we can get a kill.
Without the Eve, it is very different, right? Vexana, you use that Terrify or Eternal Guard, that utility goes right out the window. You have such a long cooldown in these early stage. So the control area of control for Dfyg Yaoguai definitely not as much as game 1.
Yeah, and I like what you brought up. Not having the Eve here, that also might be the big difference maker for Dfyg Yaoguai. Vexana is good, but it's definitely not a replacement for an Eve.
Yeah, it's kind of like a budget Eve. I would even say Aurora kind of feels slightly better in certain regards, right? If you have a Cho that's running at you, I definitely feel like Aurora makes a bit more difference. They drop the Eternal Guard onto Jasmine, who is just soaking it up. KelVJ blocking out Yi1. He doesn't have... Oh, he has to use Flicker, actually, to get out of that. That would have been pretty deadly. Commit the full combo onto KelVJ. Not getting much. Jasmine goes in, look for the knockup. Jikundo gets it. KelVJ re-engages. PC Law and Order. The verdict being Jasmine's demise. KelVJ pulls Vengeance, but the damage from Cammy gives them a double kill.
Yeah, and this is where we see the priority lies with Cammy. Cammy was all alone in the bottom lane, Husky. He could have stayed there. He could have for sure grabbed that objective. But this is the teamwork of Nightmare Esports. He rotated mid, get those kills, and able to get the mid lane. And now he might even get this bottom lane as well.
It feels so much better. It feels so good when your Roma is able to set up and tank damage, not like a Matilda that just gets blown up in an instant. Too easy for Lexi. He's 1 level ahead. Oppa now gets the pressure along. Obviously not much, right? This Bruno still hurts like a truck. Has to be very careful with how he moves. And with this Bruno out of commission for now, Nightmare Esports gets to move around a lot more.
By the way, can I just shout out the... Right now we have the trophy in the Land of Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
Right? When Bruno was fighting against Opera, I saw that at the side. Oh, hold on. DCU taking a lot of damage.
It's a good Law and Order to stop the kick. Jasmine out of position. This KelVJ takes him out. Oppa from the corner. Yeah, Long is almost walked out to it. Oppa will just go on to him. Long will fight back, uses the Wordy, but keeps his Purify. So it's not that bad for Dfyg Yaoguai.
Looks like the idea for both EXP laners, KelVJ as well as Opera, is just like man-to-man defense. Don't let whoever you're assigned to move around the map. KelVJ stopped Opera, and this time Opera is going to stop Long. He's going to make sure that Opera will die, but Long is nowhere near the fight.
I would argue stopping the choke is so much important. Too easy for Lexi gets the third turtle again. And KelVJ, he's so deep in the Revitalize, not in range to save him. So Cammy on the killing spree.
All the while, Opera was on to Yi1. Yi1 was not a part of that fight just because Opera was able to find him in the back line and then push him away. And Yi1, his playstyle is very, very safe. He's going to make sure that he doesn't die. And Opera exploited that.
I think the downside right now, or at least how Dfyg Yaoguai has been playing, there's no one to peel for Yi1. It's not like game 1 where you have a Kaja, we have a Phobius that can focus on the back. They get a 3-man knockout with Eternal Guard. That is huge. But where's the damage? Jasmine finds the kick into the wall though, so got a Flicker to get away. A disengage coming out from Nightmare on the top side. But going back to what I was saying, your Roma, the high loss, he's so focused on trying to dive with KelVJ that E1 has to fend for himself, and it's never going to feel good.
Right now, Zed going up against Opera. Opera taking quite a bit of damage, but again, Opera is building defense, so this should not be a problem for him. Looking at the itemization here, Opera, even though only has the Thunder Belt, by this time he should be able to have maybe 7 or 8 stacks. So he has quite a bit of defense here. Other itemizations as well, we can already see that Cammy, 8 minutes in, already having 2 items, the Blade of Despair as well as the Malefic Gun, compared to the Bruno, also having 2 items, the Hot Claw as well as the Berserker Fury. The damage is there, the range is not there for the Bruno just yet.
Part of me feels like Dfyg Yaoguai might need to change the approach to the fight a little bit. Instead of trying to dive the backline and lock them out, you might want to consider peeling for both Long and Yi1. Like, if you stop Jasmine, there is going to be Alpha, right? So there's more than one target that is going to constantly threaten this Vexana that's so important to your team fight. They're gonna jump onto So. Jasmine from the back. PC will eat all of it up. KelVJ finds the mid laner, but unfortunately, no kills just yet. Long onto Jasmine, who will use the shuttle away. KelVJ finds the kill onto So. Long now threatened, but PC will just use his body to block it up. Jasmine tries to go for the kick onto Yi1, but Long is saved, and this time, KelVJ is able to stall out the fight.
Dude, it was good by Yi1 as well. As long, did you see how they managed all this dive coming in from Nightmare?
Yeah.
Jasmine tried to kick them.
That's exactly what you need to do, right? Peel for the backline, stop the dive. The difference is there. Flicker into Raging Sandstorm. Long is now the target. Tries to heal up with the Heart's Claw. It's still a 1-for-1 trade. And they take this Lord though. Too easy for Lexi. He has Cammy with him, but he's so low. An attempted steal, not done. Zed will not win that Nightmare with Lord.
Cammy this time is having a much better game. 4-0-3. Damage dealt. Yi1 still at the top. Surprisingly, 33,000 damage dealt. Even though Yi1, more often than not, gets zoned out quite far away from the team fight. So, Yi1, if he has a good setup.
Oh, yeah.
If Yi1 and Lung is not touched, it's going to be good for Dfyg Yaguai. Right now, let's look at the instant replay here, even though it looks like a fight is about to start. But look at Yi1. He saw that Jasmine wanted to go for him, so he was able to control him first. And that's the big difference. If Jasmine instantly gets the Vexana, probably a different fight.
I would say the focus right now is who can peel for the backline better, right? Like that fight, no one was peeling KelVJ off the rest of Nightmare's backline. That's why he's just jumping around with the Infernal Pursuit. Jasmine, flicker kick onto P. Still, they just burst him. This high loss, not part of the fight anymore. The Lord still coming in from the bot side. Dfyg Yaguai will have to wait for 20 seconds.
Feels good. Feels good for a Nightmare there, where when you get a high loss and you can burst him down that fast, it gives you this confidence that you can fight against anyone. But at this point, Nightmare, they probably just want that holy defense, and they got it. And now they cheer the retreat.
So the good news for Dfyg Yaguai is that they keep inhibitors alive. They are almost 7k behind. The thing is, Long, he needs that Malefic Gun as soon as possible. We see the difference that it doesn't feel good, like you pointed out, if you take Purify on Bruno, but it's a necessity in this game. But without the flicker, oh boy, any Raging Sandstorm flicker from Oppa is gonna clip him. And he needs that Malefic Gun. He needs it so fast, but he's so far from it. Oh wow, he just got it. Wow. Nice try, I thought.
Right now, the Wind of Nature coming in from Cammy is gonna make it much more difficult for Zed and Long to actually get that kill. So this is a very big difference.
Yeah.
Over 2,000 difference between Cammy and Long. Even if Lung gets free hit over to Cammy, which, judging by the range of the Beatrix, will be very rare to happen, he has to be careful. If he just tunnel visions and just basic attacks all the way and not notice that Wind of Nature, that could be the game-ending fight for Dfyg Yaguai.
How fast can you force it out is also a question. It spells a bit of problem for KelVJ because you dive onto Cammy, but we saw the impact of Nightmare Esports burst damage, right? You get caught once and you just disappear thanks to Banner's Rage. Even get the Demon Hunter Sword, so good luck being a tank if you are Dfyg Yaguai.
Right now, I'm just looking at how they're going to win this one. But Nightmare so far, Husky has been playing very clean. Almost 7,000 gold advantage. Cammy hasn't died at all. And too easy for Lexi this time. He's able to start the fight. It's amazing. But able to peel for his backline as well. This is a different Nightmare Esports from game number 1.
Yeah, but you don't have to constantly be the first one to go in. It always feels good. Jasmine wants to look for the kick, couldn't find it, but it's good enough for the team to get the Lord. And now Nightmare Esports have an angle to go in. E1, he is so split up. Flickers away to get to safety. The freeze from So takes out E1. And Dfyg Yaguai on the run. KelVJ with the vengeance to the back. Can't even get Jasmine. That's unstoppable for too easy for Lexi. 3 kills for Nightmare.
Yeah, right now, Dfyg Yaguai, it's hard to say this, but they already got to think about game number 3 because Nightmare Esports is almost 10,000 gold ahead. And against a Beatrix, one of the best scalers in the game, this is not what you want to see. And now it looks like they want to go in mid.
Maybe one last chance for Dfyg Yaguai, but can they hold on for 5 seconds? So P-Steel will use the Glorious Power to slow down the minion wave and keep himself alive. But Cammy almost finding it. Jasmine just flickers for it. Get rid of the front line, finds the kick on the E1. Jasmine sets it up. And Long will have to back off. 2 inhibitors down, but bottom one will fall thanks to the Lord. And Nightmare Esports showing their true form awaken after game number 1. Dfyg will put up a final defense, but it is futile as Laos will continue this run in the first BO3. We find the equalizer.
The moment the kick connects on the Vexana Husky, that's game over. Your wave clearer is done. It's out of the picture. They can end the game, and that
Dfyg, he's deep in. He's so committed that there's
the highlights here from Cammy and looking at what he has been doing all throughout the game. And this is the moment where he was at the bottom lane. He went all the way to mid, able to secure the kills and then secure the objective as well. This shows his macro understanding. He had a free turret. But he wants some kills as well.
So patient as well. I mean, the rest of Nightmare was so patient with how they played that game. And you can even see in all these small moments where Cammy was involved in the fights. This one is probably the most even one where Dfyg was able to kind of peel away the divers and allow Dfyg to do his job. But aside from that, Cammy was essentially untouched, right? Like Dfyg showed up, great, I have an Alpha to peel for me, I have Aurora to freeze him in place, and I just need to banish Rage his face.
Yeah, so really in terms of what they've been doing is that Dfyg, they just have to go back.